The Alien Armada cut through the void, a swarm of 1,000 biomechanical warships, their organic hulls shimmering with latent energy. At their head was Fleetmaster Vrex, a being of pure, cold logic. His four eyes scanned the tactical display. Their target was a fledgling species, designated humanity. Their home system just ahead. Scouts had reported primitive chemical rockets, early-stage planetary colonization, an easy conquest, a new world to add to the glorious Clathian dominion. A lone vessel appeared on the long-range scanners. It was small, a mere speck compared to his flagship. The design was blocky, inelegant, a far cry from the sleek, predatory forms of his own ships. He recognized the crude signature of fusion drives. It was human. Vrex let out a low chitter of amusement. Were they sending a single ship to greet the inevitable? A diplomatic mission, perhaps? How quaint. Hail them. Vrex commanded his communications officer. Demand their unconditional surrender. Inform them that their resistance is futile, and their compliance will be rewarded with swift integration. The message was sent. The response was not what he expected. No pleas, no negotiations, just a single, tight band transmission. It wasn't even a verbal message. It was a sequence of musical notes, a simple, haunting melody that echoed through the bridge of Vrex's command ship. The melody played once, then silence. Vrex's amusement turned to irritation. What is this foolishness? The song. Are they mocking us? He gestured to his weapons officer. Target their propulsion systems. A demonstration of our power is in order. As the Clathian targeting lasers locked on, the human ship did something unexpected. It didn't flee. It didn't raise shields. Instead, its hull seemed to shift. Panels retracted, armor plates rearranged, and what was once a clunky cargo hauler transformed. A long, spinal cannon emerged from its core, glowing with an energy signature that made Vrex's four eyes widen. The readings were off the charts, impossibly high. What is that? Vrex hissed. What kind of weapon is that? Before his science officer could answer, the human ship fired. It wasn't a beam of light or a bolt of plasma. It was a ripple in space-time itself. A wave of pure gravitational distortion shot from the cannon, not aimed at the flagship, but at a cruiser on the Armada's flank. The Clathian cruiser, a behemoth of organic armor and biocircuitry, didn't explode. It simply folded. Like a piece of paper, it was crushed in on itself, collapsing into a point of infinitesimal size before vanishing with a silent flash. A collective gasp echoed across the Clathian bridge. One ship gone, deleted from existence. All ships, fire at will. Destroy that vessel. Vrex roared, his cold logic shattered by a surge of primal fear. The Armada unleashed its fury. Hundreds of plasma torpedoes and energy beams converged on the lone human ship. But then, it did it again. That haunting melody played over the comms, and the space around the human vessel warped. The incoming projectiles, moments from impact, were suddenly diverted. They curved around the ship as if it were a massive, unseen star, slingshotting harmlessly into the void beyond. Vrex stared in disbelief. A gravity well. They had generated a localized gravity well strong enough to bend light and matter. This wasn't primitive. This was godlike. The human ship, now identified on their displays as the Endurance, didn't return fire immediately. It moved, not with the brute force of thrusters, but by folding the space in front of it and expanding the space behind. It blinked from one point to another, covering vast distances in an instant. It was a dance of destruction. With each blink, the main cannon would fire. Each shot was not a blast, but a precise surgical strike of warped reality. A Clathian destroyer was stretched into a long, thin wire of atoms. A frigate was compressed into a perfect sphere of super-dense matter. Another was twisted into a grotesque, helical shape before its internal structure failed. There were no explosions, no fire, no chaos, just the silent, clean, and terrifying removal of his ships from the universe. His fleet, the pride of the Dominion, was being dismantled piece by a single, silent opponent. The Clathian crews panicked. These were warriors who had conquered galaxies, who had never known fear. But this was not war. This was pest control, and they were the pests. Ships began to break formation, their organic systems overwhelmed by the sheer terror their pilots were feeling. On the bridge of the Endurance, Captain Eva Rostova watched the alien fleet scatter. Her face was calm, her expression unreadable. Beside her, her first officer, Ben, looked at the tactical display, his knuckles white. "Captain," he said, his voice strained, "their fleet is in full retreat." Eva nodded slowly. "They thought we were young. They thought we were weak. They scanned our system and saw our civilian ships, our colony transports, our exploration vessels. They never thought to look deeper." Ben glanced at the heart of their ship on the engineering schematic, the source of their impossible power, the singularity drive. Humanity hadn't conquered space with rockets and fusion. They had stumbled upon the very fabric of the universe, learned to pluck its strings, to compose a symphony of creation and destruction. The melody they broadcast wasn't a song. It was a calibration sequence. They saw the shepherd, Eva said softly, her eyes fixed on the fleeing Clathian fleet. "They never expected the wolf." Vrex, his command vessel one of the few dozen remaining, watched his armada disintegrate. The human ship had stopped firing. It hung in the void, silent, watching them run. The message was clear. "We could have destroyed you all, but we chose not to." A new transmission came through. It was verbal this time. The voice was female, calm, and utterly devoid of triumph or malice. "This is Captain Eva Rostova of the United Nations ship Endurance. You have acted with hostile intent. We have responded in kind. This is your first and only warning. Leave this sector and do not return. Report to your leaders. Tell them what you saw here. Tell them humanity is not the easy prey you thought we were. We are not conquerors. We are not interested in empire, but we will defend our home now." The transmission ended. The Endurance, its point made, simply vanished. Not with a flash of light or an engine burn, but by folding space one last time, disappearing from their reality as if it had never been there. Vrex stood frozen in his bridge amidst the wreckage of his ambition. Once a fortress of logic was now a swirling chaos of a single, terrifying thought. They had come to conquer a world of primitives and had instead knocked on the door of gods. The galaxy would have to be warned. Humanity was here, and the universe would never be the same. On board the Vigilance, Captain Elara stood firm at the command bridge, her gaze steady as she surveyed her crew. The bright screens glowed with data, displaying information about the alien fleet. Looming ahead, every sailor on the warship felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Captain, we have confirmed the readings," said Lieutenant, her fingers flying over the controls. "The alien fleet is massive, and they're preparing for battle." Elara nodded, her expression resolute. "Then we prepare as well. This is our moment to show what humanity can do." She turned to face her crew, passion burning in her eyes. "We are not here to simply defend ourselves. We are here to stand strong and represent Earth. Remember the sacrifices made by those before us. We are the future." The crew erupted in applause, their morale bolstered by Elara's words. She could feel the energy shift in the air, transforming nerves into determination. Each crew member knew that they were on a mission larger than themselves. Earth had given birth to so many brave souls, and today they would not falter. As the crew initiated combat protocols, Elara stepped to the front of the bridge, taking a moment to observe her ship. The Vigilance was a beautiful piece of engineering. Its sleek lines and powerful weapons promised both speed and strength. She placed her hand on the console, feeling the warm pulse of the ship's systems beneath her fingers. This was not just a machine. It was a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. "Lieutenant Mira," Elara called out, breaking the moment of reverence. "What's our current position?" About 500 kilometers from the alien fleet. Captain, Mira replied. Scanners indicate that they are in full battle readiness. Excellent. Maintain stealth mode, Elara ordered. We need to surprise them if we want a chance at victory. As the Vigilance glided silently through the void, Elara felt a strange calm wash over her. Her heart raced, not with fear, but with anticipation. Every battle she had fought in training now felt irrelevant. This was the real deal. The stakes were higher, and she knew her crew was counting on her leadership. Captain, the alien flagship is moving, Mira announced, bringing Elara back to focus. It seems they are attempting to lock onto us. Activate our countermeasures, Elara commanded. Let's teach them that humans are not to be taken lightly. The Vigilance released a series of electromagnetic pulses, blinding the alien scanning systems. Lost track of their location. It was a small victory, but one that inspired confidence. Prepare to fire the energy cannons, Elara ordered. But hold your fire until my command. We wait for the perfect moment. As time passed, tension filled the breach. The crew was focused, their eyes darting between consoles. Seconds felt like hours. Elara could sense that they were on the precipice of something monumental, and she wanted to guide them through it. Suddenly, the intercom crackled to life. Captain, we have incoming messages from the aliens, said the communications officer. They're demanding our surrender. Elara raised an eyebrow. Surrender? They must not have done their homework. We won't back down, she turned back to her crew. They think we're weak because we're outnumbered, but they are in for a surprise. Humanity has faced adversity before and emerged stronger. As the crew cheered once more, Elara felt the pulse of unity among them. They were a band of soldiers ready to defend their home and humanity's honor. Each person had chosen to fight, and that choice defined their strength. Mira interrupted her thoughts. Captain, they appear to be regrouping. Another ship has joined their formation. They are preparing for an offensive. Elara's mind raced. The calm phase of the battle was over. It was time to reignite the fight, raise shields, and keep our weapons primed. Prepare to engage. As the alien ships adjusted, deploying their formations, Elara took a deep breath. The moment had arrived when actions would speak louder than words. She glanced around, meeting the eyes of her crew. They were ready. On my command. Fire, Elara shouted, her heart pounding with adrenaline. The first explosion lit up the black void of space, a vibrant display of colors as energy beams pierced through the darkness. As ordered, the Vigilance fired at the nearest alien cruiser, striking it with pinpoint accuracy. The crew had trained for moments like this, and they executed their commands flawlessly, channeling all their fear into focused energy. Good shot, Mira yelled, exhilaration unmistakable in her voice. Elara felt a surge of pride as the Vigilance danced. Through the chaos of the battle, the alien ships retaliated, returning fire with dazzling energy blasts. But Elara expertly maneuvered their ship, expertly dodging the incoming assaults. Maintain formation. Do not break ranks. She urged. Reports flooded in from the other crew members' readiness of systems, brief injuries, and status updates. Each piece of information heightened the intensity of the moment, but Elara remained poised, her confidence echoing through her crew. This was not simply a battle. It was a testament to the strength of humanity. As they moved deeper into the fray, Elara realized that each pulse of energy reflected their determination to protect their home. She could see her crew working as a cohesive unit. Not just individuals, but a family fighting side by side. In the depths of chaos, the alien commander Zorger was dealing with his own issues. Panic spread among his ranks as his ship struggled against the unexpected human tactics. More insidious than other ships fear of the unknown. In that moment, human resilience was winning a battle much larger than the one they fought in space. It was a fight against overconfidence, hubris, and ignorance. They were proving to the universe that humanity was not simply another race to be brushed aside. Amid the chaos, Captain Elara's voice rang clear. This is for Earth. This is for humanity. The battle was just beginning, and in this moment of conflict, the world would witness what humanity was capable of when pressed against the wall. The universe had little idea of the strength hidden within a human warship, and neither did the alien fleet. At least, not yet, but soon. They would learn. Soon. They would understand. The Vigilance surged forward into the heart of the enemy fleet. Energy beams streaking through the darkness. Each shot was precise, showcasing human ingenuity and strategy. Captain Elara could feel the adrenaline flowing through her veins as the control room vibrated. With the roar of propulsion engines, the crew worked in perfect harmony. United by a single purpose, to protect humanity. Captain, the alien flagship is taking a phase of maneuvers, Lieutenant Mira announced. Her voice urgent yet steady. They seemed to be rearranging their formation to protect their command ship. Elara nodded, her eyes narrowing as she focused on the screen displaying the unfolding chaos. The alien forces were regrouping, their ships forming a barricade around Sorger's flagship. Panic was evident in their sensors. They were trying desperately to reorganize their ranks. Prepare to initiate a new attack pattern, Elara commanded. Target their smaller ships first. With their support vessels out of the way, we can focus on their commander. The crew rapidly adjusted the ship's targeting systems, eyes reflecting determination as they prepared for the next phase of attack. As the crew executed their orders, Sorger watched the scene unfold on his command bridge, feeling frustration boil within him. The alien forces had been bested before, but this was different. This human ship displayed an unyielding spirit that shook him to the core. But he would not let fear take hold. Prepare for a full-scale assault, Sorger bellowed, his voice booming over the chaos. All ships, focus your energy weapons on the human craft. Show them the power of the Armada. Back on the Vigilance, Elara could feel the intensity of the situation rising. The Alien Armada was not to be taken lightly. She watched as their ships began to adjust their weaponry, preparing to unleash an overwhelming barrage against her and her crew. Brace for incoming fire, she shouted, her voice steady amid the rising tension. The crew quickly strapped in, shields raised and energy levels primed. She could feel her heart pounding as the moment of truth approached. The first blasts ricocheted against the Vigilance's shields, shimmering with an iridescent glow before dissipating into harmless energy. Elara felt a sense of relief rush through her. Their shields were holding, but the heat was rising, and they would not survive long like this. Status update, she called, eyes scanning the control panels. Shields holding at 60%. Mira reported, her fingers dancing over the controls. That won't last long if we stay in one place, Elara replied, her mind working at full capacity. Initiate evasive maneuvers. We need to confuse them. Change course to 5 degrees starboard. The Vigilance expertly shifted, twisting and turning, dodging incoming fire with agility and speed. The alien ships were quick to adjust, but their coordination was slipping. The fear that had spread through their ranks now began to manifest as disorganization. Captain, we've scanned the enemy's flagship, Mira reported, her eyes wide with realization. It appears they're relying on their smaller ships for defense. If we can destabilize their formation, we might create a gap to capitalize on. Elara's mind raced with possibilities. Then let's do it. Target their support vessels. We'll create chaos in their ranks. The crew focused their fire on the smaller ships, energy beams piercing through the darkness and striking true. Explosions erupted as alien craft were obliterated, torn apart by the onslaught. The crew felt a renewed energy flow through them, bolstered by each successful strike. Great job, team, Elara encouraged, her voice rising above the din. Keep it up meanwhile. Sorger observed the devastation from his command ship, his face darkening as he saw ship after ship fall to the advancing Vigilance. This is intolerable, he thundered, his eyes narrowing. They cannot be this powerful. We will not allow a single human vessel to dominate us. As if on cue, Elara activated the Vigilance sensors to better analyze the alien formation. Suddenly, a new thought struck her. Mira, scan for their weaknesses. Are there any vulnerabilities in their flagship? The scanning system roared to life. Data, flooded in readouts of energy signatures and structural weaknesses, were mapped out in real time. Mira's face brightened with anticipation. Captain, there's a weak point near the rear of the flagship's power core. If we can target it, then we make our move. Elara finished, her heart racing. Prepare all weapons for a high-energy shot. Hold back any vengeance fire. We need everything focused on that core. The crew rallied around her, confidence swelling. Ready on your mark, Captain, they called out. As they centered their attacks, the chaos outside the Vigilance raged on. Ships continued to fall, their formation in disarray, but Zorger's resolve intensified. All ships, focus all firepower on the human vessel. Fired away. With a deafening roar, the alien fleet unleashed their full might, energy beams lighting up space like brilliant stars. Elara felt the force of their fire against her shields, strain and pressure building as the Vigilance fought to maintain stability. Shields holding at 40%. Mira yelled, urgency rising in her voice. Steady. Hold, Elara commanded, adrenaline fueling her resolve. When I say so, finally, the moment arrived. The Vigilance poised at the ready. Now, fire at their power core, she ordered, a surge of determination sweeping through her. The ship erupted in brilliance as beams erupted from their cannons, striking the alien flagship's weak point. On the control panel, alarms blared while brilliance enveloped the alien ship. Fiery explosions erupting from within. Zorger's eyes widened in horror as the damage unfolded before him. No, this cannot be, he shouted, watching his flagship begin to lose structural integrity. Panic surged through his crew as they realized that the tide was turning against them. Back on the Vigilance, cheers erupted among the crew. They had struck a decisive blow. Keep firing. Don't let up, she surveyed the battle, feeling the weight of human perseverance and the spirit that had guided them to this moment. They were no longer just facing an alien fleet. They were standing against prejudice and doubt. They had unleashed potential that even the universe could not ignore. As chaos reigned both inside and outside the flagship, the former positions of power began to shift. Humanity had revealed its strength, and for the first time, an unknown planet could claim its place in the universe. A just course. We will not falter, Elara shouted, the fight igniting within her heart. The Vigilance continued to soar against the backdrop of stars, a beacon of humanity's strength. Unyielded and determined. In that moment, among the tapestry of war, a truth began to emerge. Sometimes a single ship, driven by courage, can change the fate of many, allowing humanity's voice to be heard, echoing throughout the galaxy with each pulse of energy fired in defiance. And they were just getting started. The year is 2347. Humanity has reached for the stars, but the stars have reached back. My name is Commander Eva Rostova, and this is the story of how the Aegis of Sol, our last line of defense, stood against the tide. It began like any other cycle aboard the Aegis. The low hum of the life support systems, the distant clang of maintenance droids, the quiet murmur of 1,000 souls going about their duties. We were the shield, the wall between the nascent colonies of humanity and the silent, hungry void. For a decade, that void had been quiet. Too quiet. I was on the bridge, staring out at the star-dusted tapestry of the Andromeda sector. The system was calm, a picture of cosmic serenity. My second-in-command, Lieutenant Jax, was running diagnostics on the sensor array. He was young, brilliant, and had an almost unsettling optimism that sometimes grated on my seasoned cynicism. Everything's green, Commander, he said, his voice crisp over the comms. Not even a stray asteroid to liven things up. I keyed my console. Keep it that way, Jax. The universe has a funny sense of humor. The moment you get comfortable is the moment it throws a planet at you. He chuckled. Copy that, Commander. Staying vigilant. My words turned out to be more prophetic than I could have imagined. Not 10 minutes later, a klaxon blared through the ship. Red lights bathed the bridge in an apocalyptic glow. What is it, Jax? I snapped, my heart instantly pounding against my ribs. His face was pale, his eyes wide as he stared at his screen. Commander, you need to see this. I was by his side in a second. On the main view screen, a tear in space-time had opened. It wasn't a natural whirlpool. It was a violent G drift. And from it, they came. The Scourge. We had only encountered them once before. A brief, bloody skirmish on the edge of the Orion Spur. They were a biomechanical horror. Ships that were part living organism, part machine, all nightmare. They moved with a predatory grace that defied physics, their carapaces shimmering with an oily rainbow iridescence. This wasn't a scout party. This was an armada. All hands to battle stations. I roared into the ship-wide comm. This is not a drill. I repeat, all hands to battle stations. Shields to maximum. Weapons free. Target the lead vessel. The Aegis shuddered as our primary railguns fired, sending slugs of superheated plasma streaking across the void. They impacted the lead Scourge vessel, but the energy dissipated across its organic hull like water on a hot skillet. It barely seemed to notice. In response, a swarm of smaller Scourge fighters detached from the motherships, a cloud of metallic insects buzzing towards us. Launch Vipers, I ordered, my voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through me. Give them hell. The launch tubes hissed, and our own squadrons of starfighters, the Vipers, shot out to meet the enemy. The space between the fleets erupted into a chaotic ballet of light and destruction. Green Scourge energy bolts crisscrossed with the blue plasma fire of our Vipers. Explosions blossomed in the silent darkness like deadly flowers. On the bridge, we were a whirlwind of focused activity. Shields at 80%. Our tactical officer called out. They're trying to flank us. Port side. Jax, divert auxiliary power to the port shields, I commanded, and get a lock on their energy signatures. Find a weakness. There has to be one. Jax's fingers flew across his console. They're adaptive, Commander. Every time we hit them with a specific frequency, they reroute their energy matrix. It's like trying to nail jelly to a wall. Then we'll use a bigger nail, I said grimly. Prepare the Helios cannon. A hush fell over the bridge. The Helios cannon was our weapon of last resort. It drew power directly from the ship's core, a concentrated beam of pure solar energy that could crack a moon in half. But it left us incredibly vulnerable, draining our shields and main power for a full 60 seconds after firing. Commander, Jax began, his voice hesitant. The risk is one we have to take. I cut him off, my gaze fixed on the main view screen where our Vipers were being whittled down. We don't win this with a war of attrition. We win it by cutting off the head of the snake. Target the largest mothership, the one at the center. Locking on, the tactical officer confirmed. The ship groaned around us as immense power was diverted to the main cannon. A low, powerful hum vibrated through the deck plates, growing in intensity with every passing second. Cannon is at 75% charge, Jax reported, his eyes glued to his display. 90%. 100. We are ready, Commander. The Scourge fleet seemed to sense the threat. Their fire intensified, a hailstorm of energy beating against our weakening shields. Shields at 40% and dropping. Fire, I said, my voice barely a whisper. A beam of blinding, golden light erupted from the prow of the Aegis. It was beautiful and terrifying. A man-made star cutting a path through the darkness. It connected with the central Scourge mothership. For a moment, nothing happened. The beam was simply absorbed into its massive, pulsating form. It's not working. Someone muttered in disbelief. Wait, I said, holding my breath. The mothership began to glow from within, its organic hull turning from iridescent black to a sickly, pulsating orange. Cracks of golden energy spiderwebbed across its surface. Then, with a silent, catastrophic detonation, it imploded. The resulting shockwave was purely kinetic, a ripple in space that sent smaller scourge vessels tumbling. A cheer erupted on the bridge, but it was short-lived. Shields are down. Jax yelled. Main power is offline. We're a sitting duck for the next 50 seconds. The remaining Scourge fleet, enraged by the loss of their command ship, turned their full fury upon us. Without shields, their energy bolt slammed directly into our hull. The ship screamed as metal buckled and systems failed. Explosions rocked the bridge, sending sparks raining from the ceiling. Hull integrity at 60%. Life support failing on decks 7 through 9. We're losing her. I gripped the command chair, my knuckles white. Jax, how long until main power is back? 20 seconds, he yelled over the din. If we last that long. It was the longest 20 seconds of my life. The Aegis groaned under the onslaught, a mortally wounded beast refusing to die. I could feel every hit, every rupture, as if it were my own body. 10 seconds. A massive blast struck the port side. The lights flickered and died, plunging the bridge into emergency lighting. 5, 4, 3. Just as a volley of torpedoes closed in on our exposed bridge, a flicker of blue light appeared on the view screen. Then another and another. From the periphery of the battle, new ships warped into existence. Human ships. The Fifth Fleet, reinforcements from the core worlds. Their arrival was a symphony of chaos. Cannons blazing, fighters swarming. They slammed into the disorganized Scourge flank. The tide had turned. Main power is back online, Jax shouted, his voice hoarse with relief. Shields are regenerating. The Scourge, their command structure shattered and now facing a fresh, organized enemy, began to falter. Their predatory aggression turned into a disorganized retreat. They folded space and vanished back into the rift from which they came, leaving behind a graveyard of their own twisted ships. Silence descended upon the bridge, broken only by the crackle of damaged consoles and the heavy breathing of the crew. We were battered, broken, but we were alive. The Aegis had held. I looked over at Jax. His face was smudged with soot, but that irrepressible optimism was shining through. He gave me a weary, triumphant grin. Told you we'd be okay, Commander. I allowed myself a small smile. Don't get comfortable, Lieutenant. The void is still out there, and it's still hungry. We had won the battle, but the war for humanity's survival had just begun. As I looked out at the wreckage, I knew one thing for certain. We would be ready. We would always be ready. In the heart of the void, a violent explosion ripped through the power core of the alien flagship, turning the silent expanse into a maelstrom of light and chaos. The blinding flash cast long, dancing shadows across the broken remnants of the enemy fleet. On the command bridge of the Vigilance, Captain Elara stood firm, her heart a drumbeat of victory and dread. Status report, she commanded, her voice cutting through the tension, unwavering even as a storm of emotions threatened to break her composure. Round her, the crew scrambled, their fingers flying across consoles as streams of data poured in. Shields are down to 15%, Captain, Lieutenant Mira reported, her voice taut with strain. We took some serious blowback from the explosion, but all systems are still green. The flagship's core is destabilizing, but it's not a kill shot, not yet. Elara gave a sharp nod, the pounding in her chest echoing the tremors running through her ship. We have to finish this before they can regroup. Prepare for a final assault on the flagship. A collective breath was drawn across the bridge. Everyone understood the weight of this moment. They had defied all expectations, surviving an onslaught from an armada that should have annihilated them in minutes. But humanity had endured. Now, it was time to show the galaxy what that endurance truly meant. As the crew brought the weapon systems online, the screens flared with flashing indicators and urgent alerts. Shockwaves from the dying flagship pulsed through space, rattling the Vigilance. But they couldn't shake Elara's resolve. She watched as smaller alien ships began to break formation, their movements betraying a flicker of fear. This was their chance, and they couldn't afford to let it slip away. "Let's drive the point home," Elara ordered, her voice low and dangerous. "Target their most vulnerable ships. Engage at will." With a roar of renewed purpose, the crew unleashed a furious barrage of energy blasts. Tearing into the lingering enemy vessels, the Vigilance surged forward, a beacon of human tenacity against the encroaching darkness. But miles away, aboard the crippled alien flagship, Commander Zorger was crafting a desperate countermove. The explosion had shaken his certainty, but surrender was not in his vocabulary. He watched the chaos unfold, a cold fury rising within him as he saw the human ship pressing its advantage. "Redirect all remaining firepower," he bellowed, his voice echoing with raw fury. "Target the human ship. We will show them the true might of the Armada. Prepare for emergency maneuvers." Panic rippled through his own crew as they struggled to obey. The colossal flagship began to turn, its remaining weapon ports locking onto the Vigilance. Zorger's eyes narrowed, watching the human ship advance with a boldness that bordered on insanity. They seemed completely unfazed by his show of force. "Captain, they're targeting us again." Mira's warning was sharp and urgent. The atmosphere on the Vigilance crackled with tension as display showed multiple virtual signatures converging on their position. "Brace for impact," Elara commanded, her knuckles white as she gripped the control panel. Shuddered round to the ship as enemy beams slammed against their failing shields. "Shields are critical," Mira cried out. "We can't take many more hits like that. Reinforce what you can." Elara shouted back, a fierce determination igniting in her veins. "We are not going down without a fight." Her gaze fixed on the alien flagship, torn and battered, its core flickering like a dying star. The enemy wasn't all-powerful. Just as scared as anyone else. In that instant, something clicked inside Elara. This wasn't just a battle for survival. It was a chance for a victory that would echo through history. "Let's outmaneuver them," she yelled, seizing manual control. "Adjust our course. We'll circle around and hit them from the flank while they're distracted." The crew responded instantly, their movements a symphony of controlled precision. The Vigilance became a dancer in the void, gracefully evading the desperate volleys from the alien warship. With every twist and turn, Elara felt a surge of adrenaline. This was the dance of war, and her crew knew every step. "Now," she commanded as they cleared the enemy's firing arc. The Vigilance unleashed its fury once more, targeting the same wounded section of the flagship, aiming to tear it wide open. The energy beams struck true, setting off a chain reaction of secondary explosions across its hull. Zorger's face went pale, his eyes wide with disbelief as he watched his mighty vessel flounder. The core erupted again, vomiting debris into the blackness of space. "What is happening?" he roared, desperation tightening its icy grip around him. "Defend the flagship. Do not let them destroy us." But his pleas were lost in the spreading panic. His support ships were faltering, some already turning to flee into the safety of deep space. Elara felt the pulse of victory quicken in her veins. She could sense the tide had turned, but the fight wasn't over. "Press the attack," she shouted, her heart hammering against her ribs. "We put them out of their misery. We can't give them a single second to regroup." As the Vigilance launched another relentless barrage, the air on the bridge filled with hope. Each blast wasn't just an attack, it was a declaration. The alien fleet was crumbling under the weight of pure, unyielding grit. "Captain, they're falling apart," Mira exclaimed, her voice filled with exhilaration. "Multiple ships are breaking off and running. Good." Elara responded, her spirit soaring. "Let's follow through and make sure they remember this day." But Zorger, still reeling from the unthinkable, grasped for one last, desperate gambit. "Rally the remaining forces. We will engage in close-quarters combat if we have to. They cannot outrun us forever." Yet even as he spoke, his ships were falling back, joining the frantic retreat. Elara knew victory was within her grasp. "Don't let them intimidate you," she rallied her crew, her voice ringing with confidence. "This isn't just another battle. This is history in the making. Let's end this." Once more, they focused their entire firepower on the dying alien flagship. As the blast surged forward, the Vigilance executed its final, perfectly timed maneuver. The decisive moment had arrived. The entire crew held their breath, pouring every ounce of their remaining energy into this one final attack. "Now, finish it," Elara cried out, her heart swelling with pride. With a final, devastating surge of power, the beams from the Vigilance converged on the flagship's core. A cataclysmic chain reaction erupted, consuming the massive alien vessel in a silent, furious blaze. The lights of the remaining armada flickered and dimmed, their flagship reduced to nothing but cosmic dust. In that moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath, acknowledging a new, undeniable truth. Humanity was not to be underestimated. Elara stood tall, her voice clear and strong. "We did it. We fought for each other, for Earth. We have shown them who we are." Cheers erupted across the bridge of the Vigilance as the crew embraced. The sweet, intoxicating taste of victory. They had faced insurmountable odds, been pushed to the brink of annihilation, only to rise with a resilience that defied logic. And now, in the vast, silent expanse of space, the echoes of their triumph would carry forth, a cosmic heartbeat reminding every being in the galaxy that humanity would always rise, and always fight back. The silence after the explosion was the loudest thing in the universe. One moment, the alien flagship was a terrifying titan of steel and fire. The next, it was a silent, blossoming cloud of debris. A stillness settled over the battlefield, an eerie quiet broken only by the hum of our own ship, the Vigilance. The remnants of the once mighty armada floated like ghostly memories, whispering tales of a lost fight. On the bridge, a collective breath was finally released. We'd done it. We'd actually done it. A sense of unity, of sheer disbelief and pride, washed over us. We were a crew pushed to the brink, and we had pushed back harder. Status report. Captain Elara's voice cut through the haze of adrenaline. It was steady, a rock in the swirling sea of our emotions. Mira's fingers flew across her console, her face a mixture of exhaustion and purity. Significant damage, Captain. Shields are practically gone, but all critical systems are holding. The enemy fleet, it's shattered. A small, suppressed smile touched Elara's lips. Excellent work, everyone. We stared into the abyss and didn't blink. Let's get an assessment of their remaining ships. What are they doing? We refocused, the training kicking in, the view screen, which minutes ago had shown a terrifying swarm of alien vessels, now displayed a scattered mess of fighters and cruisers. Some were already fleeing into the deep black, while others floated aimlessly, crippled and defeated. This victory wasn't just about superior tactics, it was about the human spirit, our stubborn refusal to give up. Commander Zorger is still on what's left of his flagship, Mira reported, her tone shifting to one of concern. He's trying to send a distress signal, trying to rally what's left of his command. Should we intercept? Elara thought for a moment, her gaze fixed on the wreckage. No. Let him process this. Let the galaxy know that humanity will not be broken. Today, we'll show our strength not just with our cannons, but with our mercy. She turned back to us, a fire in her eyes. Now, prepare a communication link to Earth. They need to hear what we accomplished today. As the Vigilance began its slow, majestic turn, we watched the alien fleet break apart. Some ships were surrendering, their weapons powering down. Most were just running, vanishing into the darkness. Reports started flooding in from our fighter squadrons, each one a story of a dogfight won, of an enemy turned back. Then, a voice crackled over the comms from one of our shuttles. "Captain, we're getting messages from what's left of the Armada. They want terms of surrender. They can't believe we actually took out their flagship. Elara paused, and this time, a full, genuine smile broke across her face. We'll take it. Send a message back. I want them to understand the ground rules. If they surrender, they will be treated with honor. We are not the monsters they thought we were. We are leaders. As the communication channel went live, we all gathered around the view screen, our hearts pounding with anticipation. Elara's fierce gaze seemed to pierce the void, her voice resonating with power and clarity. This is Captain Elara of the human vessel Vigilance. You came to our home. You chose this fight. You have witnessed what humanity is capable of. We could extinguish what remains of your fleet right now, but we are offering you a choice. The screen flickered, and a face appeared through the static. It was Zorger, the alien commander. His uniform was torn, his face streaked with grime, his eyes glaring with a mixture of defiance and utter disbelief. You think you've won, he spat. This is nothing. We will regroup. We will return. Elara remained calm, her composure a stark contrast to his rage. Your fight is over, Zorger. Surrender and find a path to peace. Keep chasing a cause that is already lost. Think of how many of your people have already died for this. There is room for all of us, but only if you are willing to put down your weapons. The tension was so thick you could feel it pressing in on the bridge. Zorger glanced around, likely seeing the same field of debris we were. He was seeing the cost of his war, but his pride was a powerful force. You think you can scare us into submission? Her eyes burning with an unshakable fire. We are not trying to scare you. We are humanity. We are built on resilience and the will to protect what is ours. You can continue to resist, or you can choose to save the lives of your remaining crew. The choice is yours. Silence. Heavy silence stretched across the void, as Zorger weighed his pride against the reality of his defeat. An eternity seemed to pass. Finally, with a glower that could melt steel, he spoke, his voice heavy with the weight of surrender. Very well. We will gather those who wish to lay down their arms. A wave of relief washed over the bridge of the Vigilance. We hadn't just fought for our own survival. We had opened a door. We had created an opportunity for peace right in the heart of war. Good, Elara replied, her voice firm and resolute. We will honor that choice. Today, we have taken the first step towards a new beginning, as the surrendering alien ships began their slow, cautious approach. You could feel the mix of hope and fear in the air. Our crew worked with quiet efficiency, preparing to receive them, but there was no cheering, no celebration. There was only a profound sense of respect for the moment. Soon, smaller alien craft were docking with the Vigilance. Weary, beaten faces appeared, their expressions a mix of apprehension and relief. Then, Commander Zorger himself descended from his battered ship to begin the negotiations in person. She stood tall, radiating not just authority, but compassion. Her voice clear and calm. That is a quality I can admire, but today gives us a chance to choose a different path. Zorger eyed her with suspicion, but he could not deny the strength in her words or the truth of their situation. Your species is unpredictable. You have shown us your power, but what of your mercy? There is strength in mercy, Elara replied firmly, and wisdom in knowing when a fight is truly over. You fought for your people. We fought for ours. Let's see if we can turn this conflict into a conversation. As the two leaders began to talk, their words echoing through the ship, it felt like we were witnessing history being made. A bridge was being built between two worlds, right here on our ship. We, the crew of the Vigilance, watched in awe as Ra. Brutal conflict transformed into a dialogue of diplomacy. This moment wasn't just about victory anymore. It was about the birth of a partnership. With Zorger's reluctant agreement, Elara's vision began to take shape. The whispers of peace treaties, of shared knowledge, of a future not defined by war, began to fill the void left by the battle. Hope blossomed, not just for humanity, but for everyone who calls this vast, beautiful universe home. We realized we hadn't just been fighting for survival. We had been fighting for the chance to create something better. Together, we would rebuild. Together, we would usher in a new dawn. This was a new story, one written not in fire, but in resilience and courage. As the stars glimmered around us, it felt like the universe itself was watching, witnessing the birth of a new legacy. A legacy where enemies could become allies, and a battle lost could be the start of a future one. In the vastness of space, humanity had finally, truly, carved its place among the stars. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more tales from across the cosmos. Until next time.